Hey, I'm doing these podcasts once a week, and I always talk about stuff that I'm passionate about because I really want you to make money out there in real estate, and that's really the key to my podcast. So this week's going to be should you be an investor? There's a lot that goes into before you thinking about being an investor, and I know a lot of people do the courses and go to classes and all that, but again, that does not prepare you to be an investor. You're going to meet a lot of happy people that's done little or nothing in real estate. You need to really look at, hey, what are the areas I want to be? What's my expectations? What kind of money am I going to spend? All that. So it's really, really important to have that if you want to be an investor. The second thing I want to bring up is the cost of it all. You need to have some funds put away. You don't want to buy something and then have no money after it's all done. Or say, for example, you buy something cash or buy it via a loan and put the money in construction. However you do it, you always want to have some money put away for those rainy days because they don't all go perfect, and there is some lay time. 4 to 6 weeks in our case, in getting the property prepared, and we have from the purchase to the finish, it's about 60 days. And so people have to have that kind of money prepared to go and be willing to understand that they need to sink some money into it. A lot of people are going, well, I want 100% back. Well, you can do that sometimes. I've done it a few times, but it's very rare. It's not a good plan. It's not a good expectation. Put some money aside. If you're going into my particular, I'm only going to talk about my real estate, but you want to put, if you have $30,000 to $60,000 that you don't, that you have in a savings or whatever, or for the project, that's probably where you want to be on these type of deals. And if you can, buy the property on a loan and then pay for the construction, you're just going to make more money like that. But prepare yourself not to, get all your money back. It's kind of it's impossible. It's stressful. I've dealt with clients like that. I'm not going to be dealing with anymore because it's very stressful for them, and I understand that. And it's stressful for me. I have to make sure that all that goes through, and it's a very tight situation for everybody. So your expectations need to understand, hey, if I don't get 100% back, you probably need to be around 85% of LTV, loan to value, maybe 75% if you're international. So you need to have 15 to 25% in the property. It's just a good way to do that, and lenders like that, and they're going to give you better interest rates. It's going to be a better situation for you. You also need to get a team. Now, what is a team? I see a lot of people on Facebook going, hey, we need contractors. These guys have already finished a couple homes. They went way over budget. So now they're trying to find more and more contractors. Well, I'm only talking about Cleveland, Ohio. I do stuff in Arizona. Arizona's easy. I have contractors there. I don't have to worry about it getting done or any of that. It gets done. In Ohio, different story. So, your rehabbing crews, construction crews are much more difficult. That's why I have my own construction crews that I watch and take care. I just met with mine today for 2 hours because there's some stuff I want fixed. There's some stuff I want changed. So we can, I think they're wasting about 40% of the time. I got to tighten that up so we can get these properties on market. And whatever I got to do that, I do that. But as an investor, you need to have that put together. And then your management. Property management is the most important. Property management, 95%. Anybody, you ask anybody, 95% of all property management is horrible. So that's why we build our own property management, is because we want people to make money. And location is everything for property management. So in our case, we stay in locations that are prudent to retain tenants and go up in value. That's a win-win situation. I was talking to a friend of mine today, and he was talking about, he did a flip over in 𝐃𝐨𝐽, and he's got a ton of money in it, so he's gonna make a ton of money, but he's gonna sell it. But he also did one in another area that he's got to kick the person out. He's got to, it's just a lot of work for him. He doesn't have the facilities or the people to do it. So, he's got a headache. And so, but he's an investor. He understands the situation. He's not overreacting. He's going to get it taken care of. Other investors would overreact. Go, oh my God, what am I going to do? We had one. I had one particular investor that it was very cold one night. I mean, it was, and the heater went out. Well, we had to go through a warranty company, which is fine. to go out to. This was on a Friday night, and they weren't going to be able to get out there till the next day. Well, we didn't want any chance of those pipes freezing because that would be a total disaster for him, his insurance, cost, he would lose rent, all that above. So we sent our boy out, and he put heaters in there for $135, got everything hooked up. Next day, the guy came out and repaired the heater. So it all worked out well. But this particular investor went ballistic because we spent $135. Probably not a good guy, not a guy that should be an investor, because we saved him probably $15,000 by doing that, because if the pipes would have busted and all the other stuff would have froze up, it's not good for interior of a home to get down to 5 to 10 degrees. It just isn't. So, that investor should, as me, I have my own investments. Sometimes I have to put money in it. I'll give you an example. I had a house over in Bedford. The city decided I need to put a new driveway in there. What am I to do? I put a driveway in. It had to be cement. They changed their laws over there. $6,000 later, I had a new cement driveway. But I look at that as that's collecting on my equity. I'm going to get that back because that house has went up in value quite a bit. The other thing you need is what kind of updates do you need on a property? That's huge. And that's what the gentleman that had the flip was going to set that up in an Airbnb or a rental. I said, well, that's not what you did the construction for. You did it as a flip. So you put a lot more money into it than you would have for a rental. So I would go ahead and sell it. And he agreed. But so updates are important, but you don't need granite countertops everywhere in rentals. You don't need certain things to get the top rent. We always get the top rent. We just rented one over in Streetsboro that we projected at $1,700. We got $1,900 out of it. We always get our rent, always. And it's just marketing and all that. But that's part of the management realtor side of the pendulum. And what's the best practices? Best practices are to have all your ducks in a row before you buy. Partners that you don't know, people that you get in business with. Is that a good idea? I don't know. Some of them are, some of them aren't. But if you want some changes in something, you got 5 partners, good luck. Or, someone wants you to come into an apartment complex. It's old. It's been around for 100 years. You're going to have a lot of problems with that. It's going to be a couple of years before you make anything. I can tell you that. Now, if it's a condo conversion or something like that, that's different. But again, apartments, I'd sway away of Cleveland, especially the older ones. If you got a new apartment, that's fine. There's a lot of big differences in that because the resale stuff on that probably might not be as high on like an 8-plex or under as it would an apartment complex. But apartment complexes, you better have deep pockets. So you want to make sure that you understand what kind of practice of real estate you're going to do. I do personally homes. I've done quite well with it. I've done very well. And, there's way more buyers. There's more renters. I go appreciating areas, good locations that people want to live in. And, we've had tenants up to six years. I had one in Arizona house, 19 years. So, it's just better. And I don't have all the rehab. My expectations is to get somebody to stay in there for as long as I can. What product should I buy? I buy houses. And they accumulate a lot more wealth quicker. We're selling one over in that one I told you 6 years, Sunbury. We put over $60,000 net in that guy's account just in rent. Think about that for a little bit. That's a lot of money, and he's going to make a tremendous amount of money because it appreciated a lot. So he's going to make money on that. He's going to do very well. People may do 23% on most of our products after a 3-year hold. And it's just a very good situation. So the best practice is understand what you're getting into. And then, of course, lastly, you want the best outcomes. The best outcomes are only going to be there if you are understandable of what's reasonable, what's not reasonable. For example, on houses, we buy warranties. So you got a $100 deductible. You're going to control your cost. Now it's a $600 item per year. That's easy to fit into your budget, and that's going to take care of a lot of stuff. There's stuff that we do for drain lines they cost $6 a month, so you don't have to pay for the $12,000 drain line. You have a $1,000 deductible. A lot of stuff that we do because if you want to be an investor, you should understand what the cost is going to be. So when you consider being a real estate investor, try and think the simplicity of it all. A lot of people look, well, I can get more income from a multiplex. Well, can you? I don't know. They move in and out a lot faster than homes. There's a lot more maintenance. The roofs are more, you got more heaters, more water heaters, more electrical boxes. You got a lot of issues there. So, there's a lot of stuff that you need to look at before you buy real estate. If you have any questions, though, call me. I'm Brad. I'm with Key Realty. Done over 1,200 homes. 216-703-5740. I've been around for a while. Give me a call. And check out the website below that I left on this podcast, and you'll see how we do on our real estate. You can go to clevelandincomerealestate.com. That's my blog. Thanks. Have a great day.